YouTube, what up, how's it going? Welcome to the big finals. It is here, it is time. We have to restart them from the machine real quick to make sure we have the best viewing experience, because we're about to spectate the finals, the big finals, the Realm of Horus finals, the boys from UCS against the folks of JST. Shout out to UCS, my friends. Good luck to you guys. Kingdom 2 represent. But JST 365, a Korean kingdom that got built as a super kingdom led by folks like Chuni and company in the creation of this kingdom. Man, this is going to be an extremely exciting match to spectate. Two Titans showing up. And there is a little bit of information as an extra for you guys to know. First and foremost, JST, obviously, after the 401 KVK and another KVK that happened after that, the folks in what was at the time 365, kind of everybody unified into that one kingdom. All the Korean strength, a lot of the Korean strength, not all of it, but a big part of it, became a massive kingdom that is JST. Their power doesn't represent. They registered mid KVK while they were crazily going ham. They have more power than that by far. And so does UCS, who were out of KVK at the time that this was going on in a 3v1 situation. The power difference means nothing. Don't worry about it. There is absolutely no part in it in here. But there is one slight thing I can tell you all now that we are reaching this scenario. You guys remember, I don't know if you guys were here a couple of weeks ago and we streamed from the Jumper account and we got kicked out of UCS, and I was like, oh no, maybe it was KVK. Maybe I'm getting zeroed. I don't know. Maybe something's going on. Remember that? Well, I lied. Well, I didn't lie, but I didn't really know at the time that they're actually doing this. The reason I got kicked is because every single time UCS practiced for Osiris League, UCS kicked everybody but the Ark of Osiris team. They were so secretive about what they do on the Osiris League field and their preparations and their testing and their everything, that they didn't even want to leave the chance for there to be a spy in the alliance that will spectate their practice matches. So every time Osiris League practice was scheduled, everybody got kicked out of UCS, but the R3s that were the Osiris League team. So UCS are taking this very seriously, and it is going to be a great show for us to watch. As the league wraps up, you can see the top two teams with 6-0 losses, 0 losses all the way to the end. Up here are the folks in JST and UCS. The MVPs that have to get some mentions in here are indeed Hulk from Song, Send from 1C9N, and someone whose name I can't say from GX96 that shared pretty much the amount of MVPs with a few other folks, including Baba himself, Scar, Mighty Angel, and many more. But Hulk was definitely the big MVP out of Song's department. When it comes to the net points, obviously 1v and UCS, believe it or not, UCS at the top. And 1v, even though they're not in here no more, they won by such a substantial difference that they're still second place when it comes to the net points of their alliance. And so as season 4 is wrapping up, all we can say is good luck, have fun to both teams. In the comments right now, ladies and gentlemen, let me know, who do you all think is going to win Osiris League Season 4 in the Realm of Horus? I went all in UCS. I believe in the boys. I have faith in the guys. And it is time to see which team will prevail at the top. Which team will be the Osiris League champion for Season 4. So all in on UCS. If we get it, we get all the coins we need to empty out the shop. If we don't get it, well, we got wrecked this season yet again in the predictions. But that's not fair. I did not bet last round. And last round was where the big boys, where the big upsets were, even though I called them both. Here we go. Into the match we go. UCS against JST, ladies and gentlemen. Osiris League Season 4 Finals. UCS in blue against JST in red. UCS from Kingdom 2, one of the most veteran alliances in this game. with one last hurrah out of Kingdom 2, and they are in the finals of Osiris League. One of the biggest contestants, biggest names of ARC in history against JST, and a kingdom that built itself up to be one of the strongest kingdoms in the game. A Korean-based kingdom that brought in a bunch of folks to reinforce it and become a super kingdom. JWM and UCS were the big names back in the day. They were the big rivalry in Ark of Osiris. That one match, the only match JWM had lost at the time, was to UCS. And now UCS, 4 seasons in, finally crack the top, make it to the finals, and they are contestants to have their names etched on the Osiris building. The road towards championship was a fairly smooth one. The last match was a very intense against 1v, very intense match, but nonetheless, no losses out of UCS. On the other hand, JST as well, going through all the teams very, very nonchalantly, including against Song, the favorites of this Osiris League season. Here we go. 1 minute and 22 seconds remaining on the map before we begin the match. If you've never seen Ark of Osiris before, here are a few quick things you need to know. Ark of Osiris is about points. Whoever has the most points at the end of 1 hour wins the match. The way you get points is by occupying buildings, which are going to give you certain amounts of points every single minute, as well as first occupation bonuses. You can also provision or gather these nodes on the map to gain more points. And finally, every so minutes, you're going to get the Ark of Osiris on the Temple of Osiris. Send it to your side's buildings or city, and you are going to get some sweet, sweet points. We're talking about roughly 3,000 to 4,500 points per arc, give or take. In the early stages of the match, all the way to the 52nd minute before the match ends, only the obelisk and outposts are going to be available for occupation. And the reason these buildings are so important is primarily the obelisks are the places where, as you can see in this circular area, you can teleport out. Once you have secured this for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, if you don't use a hard push, then you can go ahead and teleport out of the starting zone all the way to the field, which will cut you a good minute and a half worth of back and forth marching, even more than that if you're marching infantry. Now, the first part of the match is all about grabbing the obelisks and outposts as quickly as you can and holding onto them, securing them for occupation points. And from there, the match goes towards securing the rest of the buildings, the very important buildings, the Sky Altar, Desert Altar, Shrine of War, and Shrine of Life. And as the gates of hell open up and these guys start pouring their marches out, let's go show you the rest of the buildings very briefly. Both teams have 2 altars, a desert altar and a sky altar. Both teams also have a mirrored map, which means they have the same exact buildings in the same configuration. Bottom desert altar for the red team, top desert altar for the blue team, bottom sky altar for the blue team, top sky altar for the red team. And so the reason altars are extremely important, they are worth 150 points every single minute. They're the most important heavy point buildings in the map. Hard push being used by JST. We'll explain to you what that is momentarily. But what we're looking for right now is building occupations, starting to reach the buildings. And as soon as they hit the first building, I'll show you why hard push was used. So far, UCS taking a little bit longer to use hard push, but they do use it eventually. Now, both buildings taken by the red team down here. What hard push did is for the next 5 minutes, it takes away 1 minute worth of the occupation timer. So as you see, it says 1 minute and 40 seconds instead of 2 minutes and 40 seconds. The occupation timer is supposed to be 3 minutes, but with hard push, it goes down to 2 minutes. On the other side, UCS are taking their time to take these outposts, and there is going to be a very slight lead for the red team, who are already a few seconds into 30 seconds into the occupation of their outpost. In the meantime, though, UCS grabbed their obelisk first, way, way, way ahead of the team in red, who now catch up to that as well. And that gives UCS a slight 7-8 second lead, but no outposts yet for the team in blue, while the team in red have completely picked up their outposts. Finally, a first blue outpost away out of UCS. And the outposts are not that significant. They're only 30 points every single minute and 80 points worth of first occupation. Not the most critical building on Earth to take as quickly as possible, but every single second matters. Every single point is important at this stage. Both teams almost done picking up their initial buildings and now start posturing towards the first aggressions. Usually, a first good aggression that we see out of most teams is aggressing towards the desert altar of the other team. We're going to be seeing both the blue team and the red team posturing as far forward as they can on this side. As you can see, blue team is on its way with a rally and a bunch of open field marches. And you can see the same happening on the mirrored side of that map as JST's marches are plowing in. They're a bit slower as they're not cavalries, but the cavalry marches are making it their way towards the enemy desert altar, and they want to take that blue desert altar away from them in the early stage. And so does the blue team want to take away this red altar. In the meantime, this one march just lets this Cao Cao get by. 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining on this clock. 140 seconds remaining in this clock. 2 minutes and some still. So UCS are here ahead of time, but there's plenty of time for JST to make it in and support their buildings. First occupations are starting to clock in, and then the teleports should be coming in momentarily. 160 points for the team in red as they occupied their outposts early on, and this is the slight lead that they are going to get. The first 2 occupations and 60 points every single minute until the team in blue start getting their points from their own outposts, which is going to take a little while. It will give the team in red a nice little lead. A nice little lead in the early stage, as now UCS are looking to secure the area around the desert altar that is red. But more and more red marches are coming in, and they're coming in hot. They still have time, 84 seconds remaining, and they can just group up down here and then work together instead of getting picked one by one. The garrison Ura was found, and it is getting swarmed quite severely. If this garrison gets taken out, this is going to be a little bit of trouble for the team in red to hold on to their altar later on. In the meantime, JST's first teleport is here. There's a UCS Ram March just chilling in here for some reason. I guess they're trying to block teleports or something like that. In the meantime, though, JST are getting in here, and the fight for the area of the blue desert altar is happening right now. JST is coming in hard, and that garrison is definitely going to take a beating, and Yura is about to get sent home. A little bit of a mistake right there by the team in red. Team in blue, in the meantime, they are here. The garrison is fairly well defended in the back, but they are going after it. The red team is targeting the garrison as well, but this gives the opportunity for the blue team that has a major presence here to just swarm the life out of everything that gets nearby the Zenobia. And as the clock winds down and the timer is almost there, 25 seconds remain, both teams are fighting on the open field next to their respective desert altars as the other team is trying to sneak in an early occupation. While that's going on, UCS is also doing the same next to the Shrine of Life, but the red team is already here and ready to rock and roll on their own Shrine of Life. There's one red march chilling in here and a bunch of blue ones coming in. The blue ones need to make sure they grab the building first. If the JST march grabs the building first, that's going to be a little bit of a delay right there. Here is the building unlock, and red team does not pick it up. Blue team pick up their building, and they pick up the enemy's desert altar. UCS starting extremely strong, picking up 3 altars, their own altars, plus another one away from JST, and they grab an outpost as well, plus a little bit of a delay on the rest of the buildings, but the Sky Altar and the Shrine of War are secured by UCS, and UCS starting a little bit ahead now in the points per minute game. They're actually ahead now by 30 points, but once all these buildings lock in and we start talking first occupations, the team in red were delayed quite by a few moments on their desert altar, and they haven't picked up anything else. So once this whole thing boils down to the end of it, there is a slight chance here for the blue team to be ahead of the game. But they need to make sure they secure their own first occupations as well, and they secure them as quickly as possible. JST still has a good presence on the desert altar, but so does UCS. They're not going to let the team in red take this altar away from them, and the frownies going home are just crazy. Yeah, Q, that was a great match. There's a lot to talk about, but not using hard push in the beginning, Q killed you guys, and that's after that everything went downhill. But anyway, as we watch this, UCS are seeing JST rotating on an aggressive posture. We know JST likes to do this. They maintain themselves in pods and they rotate around the map. And while they rotate around the map, they put pressure with rallies as well. So there's a rally coming for the Sky Altar and all this open field march. But UCS, knowing this, have the open field presence, and they are squeezing these marches out slowly and steadily. While that's going on, they're still putting some pressure on the Desert Altar, and they are securing their own Shrine of War. And so UCS take the lead, take the points per minute lead, as well as they now have 2 outposts that are supposed to be red, and first occupations are about to lock in for both teams. And it looks like at the end of all of this, UCS might end up ahead, as they now are not only ahead in the points per minute game because of the 2 outposts that they've picked up, but they're also going to secure their own buildings quicker. And so first occupations coming in first for JST for a little bit, But now, as things wind down and the buildings lock in successfully, you can see a 900-point lead for the team in blue. And that's not going to be permanent. That's going to go down momentarily once the final outpost is secured. And there it is right there. The final altar is secured for the team in red. And now they're down by about 150, 200 points, give or take. But they are down 120 points every single minute. And that will give a lot of good points for the team in blue, who now can enjoy their time in the middle. 4 minutes until the arc gets here, and they have plenty of time as long as they maintain this pressure on the open field and on the points per minute. Then they can have that middle fight. Look at this. There was a swarm coming by JST. It swarmed the Sky Altar, and it caused the rally to go all the way to the back. And as a result, the swarm got wrecked. Now the rally is way in the back, closer to where UCS's cities are to be able to swarm this. But UCS are in a little bit of a danger here. There's a very strong rally hitting this building, and it has support on the open field. While that happens, they also lose their Shrine of Life, which is 80 points per minute out the window. JST are starting to put in the pressure, and the points per minute lead is still in the blue team's hands, but about 100, by less than 100 points, exactly 10 points to be precise. 200-point lead for the team in blue, and there are archers in that rally. I am assuming this is like a carrying march, not a rally, but JST's Desert Altar, very well defended. Blue team has an open field march just chilling there. I don't know what that is for. But the blue team really need to put pressure on their own Sky Altar. They need to be able to protect it. It is extremely low. There's not that much strength in here. There is the breakup of that rally, and it is coming towards defending the Sky Altar. It needs to help the Sky Altar. That rally is being chunked down slowly and steadily. There is, by the looks of it, somewhere a poisoning commander, what's her face, Tamaris, hitting this rally, which helped quite a lot. It slowed down the progress, but now there's an open field coming in here. Thankfully for UCS, the defense comes in. Oh, big trouble for JST. Top obelisk taken away from them. That means no teleports being populated for JST for a little bit until they pick up their obelisk back. And that can be really problematic. If UCS grab this, they can teleport out here, and man, they have a garrison for the enemy obelisk. Big trouble for JST. If they don't grab this in the next 30 seconds, which they're very likely not going to, UCS can teleport forward. And in that case, they can be in the back lines, helping from the back. This can be really, really, really strong, especially if someone like Governor comes in here and just with his unlimited marches wreaks havoc on the obelisk. This can cause a lot of issues for JST's teleport system. They're now up by 110 points, closing down that gap in about a minute or so. They will take the lead back, but UCS in 7 seconds take this obelisk. Let's keep an eye on this obelisk, see if UCS decide to teleport forward. Governor can definitely come in here. Any 400 million power player or even more than that can come in here and just keep doing damage to this obelisk, keep causing issues down here, but it looks like UCS opt not to teleport. They're maintaining their 7 teleports. They can go anywhere they want. They can bring people forward a lot quicker. Now that they secured their enemies' buildings, there's literally teleports available all over, but everybody's more focused on the middle. Right now, skills are being procced. Middle fight is going on, and it is coming down. JST is getting aggressed onto. UCS want to push in, and there goes JST's skills being procced in the middle as well. JST with both an offensive and defensive skill, coming in a little bit late with those skills, though. But we know JST are capable of having a strong middle, but so does UCS. Let's keep an eye on this middle as the frownies start showing up. Who will have the more frownies? So far, the frownies are not going anywhere. 1 first frownie away for the blue team. 2 frownies for the blue team. 2 and 2. Oh, man. 2 and 4. 4 red frownies, but now it evens out and more red frownies all over the place. The blue team, UCS, they are pushing strong, and while they're losing the points per minute game by about 140 points every single minute, at this stage, they are preparing to secure that middle, and they're securing it extremely well, extremely fast, and extremely early. In this scenario, they'll be able to rotate out forward from the Temple of Osiris all the way to the Shrines of War and Desert Altar of the red team and cause pressure. They're still in here, and they're maintaining the fight. JST are not getting closer to the Temple of Osiris, and this is really bad for them, because once the arc shows up, they're all going to march forward and leave more space for the blue team to be able to focus them. There's a red march back here that is just coming in for the fight now instead of staying in the back, trying to stop any arc carrier coming in. There is a red march down here, making sure that, things stay a little bit calibrated. In 20 seconds, the arc is going to pop, and there's only blue marches near this Temple of Osiris, while the red marches are getting chummed down. UCS, they're poised to take this season. 45 minutes remaining in this match, and the first arc is 9 seconds away. UCS looking to grab that first arc. JST Arc Carrier just next to the temple, but without open field support, he's going to get chummed down. The Arc is here, and it is picked up by a JST member by the looks of it. It will get dropped very quickly, though, so that shouldn't be a problem. There goes the JST Carrier, and so now we should see a blue guy. There it is right there. Pick up the Arc, and it's time to dip. UCS, knowing that they have a lot of the middle, pretty much most of the middle locked in, they're starting to do what I was mentioning. They're now going to pressure towards the Shrine of War with Open Field Swarm, and towards the towards the Desert Altar with whatever Open Field Swarm is remaining. There is a rally here doing a lot of damage to this Desert Altar that is extremely weak. This chaining is going to be really bad for JST, because while UCS are going to weaken down this defense, they're bringing in open field marches to swarm it. And even though this rally might not be successful at taking the building out, the open field swarm is going to keep JST in check, not allowing them to refresh the garrisons correctly in this building. And this is good news. UCS need to capitalize on the weak Desert Altar and continue to push with it. While that's going down, UCS securing the first Arc of Osiris, and now only 300 points behind. They are still going to keep losing points every single minute. 340 points in the favor of the red team is very, very good. They're growing a lead that UCS are going to be able to close down with an Arc, but they're going to need a much bigger lead than this. A small swarm plus a rally on the Desert Altar of UCS. UCS know the drill. Swarm the rally, get rid of the rally, reinforce the building, and then get rid of the swarm as well. And so they're starting to show up into their own Desert Altar to secure it. But so are JST. This small rally that was going on here, plus a small open field swarm, is now a decent swarm. But there's also reinforcements coming into the UCS Desert Altar. It looks like this is going to be successful. In the process, though, Sky Altar at the bottom went in JST's favor. And UCS pick up the middle, but lose a lot of territory. It helps out that they grabbed their enemy's Shrine of War. This will indeed help them to recapture their own building back, the Sky Altar at the bottom, and defend their own Desert Altar, now that they are 10% attack and defense ahead of JST. But nonetheless, JST are now 700 points in the lead, and a 3,000 point arc is great. It will close that gap and give UCS the lead. However, if UCS cannot stop the bleeding in the points per minute game, they're going to be in deep trouble, and they're doing so right now. At the top side, both the Desert Shrine of War and the Sky Altar are now secured in their favor. They stopped the bleeding, and they're now trying to get their own building back. Once they do that, they should take the points per minute lead. They're also still sieging on their enemy's Desert Altar. The red Desert Altar is getting swarmed now quite severely. Lots of archers, lots of buffers and debuffers. Not a good look for this Desert Altar that can still potentially get some more security. But hey, people are coming in here. These guys in UCS, they need to start swarming quicker. Yura coming in with a reinforcement into the garrison. But this garrison might not hold against all these archers. Way too many archers. Way too many buffers and debuffers. Can Zenobia hold? This is going to be a tight squeeze. Here comes another Zenobia trying to wrap up, coming in here to defend the building, but there's also now a rally very, very nearby. This building is extremely weak, and the rally is close in. Even though JST might be able to defend against this open field swarm, now comes a rally to add salt to the wounds of JST. Luckily for them, the rally of UCS needs to march around a little bit until it finds an area to hit the building. Now that it's hitting, JST's Desert Altar is in trouble. Top side, very much blue, but that Shrine of War went back to the red team. While this Desert Altar is getting sieged, Sky Altar is still red. Blue team have yet to be able to get their own Sky Altar back, which is a little bit of a trouble for them, but they grabbed their enemy's Desert Altar. Like we mentioned, big swarm, big rally, big trouble for JST. JST now up 30 points every single minute, but the buildings are still not occupied successfully by UCS. They'll have another 300 points coming in out of the two Desert Altars. The altars that they picked up was Sky Altar and Desert Altar. Red team, 1,000 point lead, though, is very good for them. The Arc of Osiris is not 100% secured just yet. As a matter of fact, JST are holding on to it. UCS dropped the Arc. Dropped the Arc Carrier, just dropped the Arc, and a JST Arc Carrier just picked it up, and he's bailing with it. And there's no one here to stop him. This Chandragupta, UCS dropped the Arc somewhere along the way, didn't realize, I didn't even realize. Next thing you know, JST are walking the Arc back. What is going on? UCS, they let the Arc slip between their fingers, and the Arc Carrier is now bringing the Arc all the way home. Oh my goodness. Don't think that UCS are out of the woods just yet. They just made a crucial mistake, and the Arc is going towards the red team, and now there is a massive swarm from the blue team coming back to try to secure their own arc, which was already secured in their favor. Terrible, terrible news for UCS, who won the middle, but somehow lost the arc somewhere along the way. And now there's red presence here to be able to re-pick up this arc and defend the arc carrier, who is now past the Temple of Osiris. This arc is officially in red territory. My goodness gracious, what did UCS do? Oh my lord. And as the arc is dropped, 10-second pickup, the red team is going to be delayed. Here comes the blue team. They're trying to stop the bleedage. They're coming from all directions. They're like, what the hell just happened here? And the red team is like, no, our arc, we got this. In the meantime, they are taking buildings away from UCS, left and right. And UCS's Heaven's Grace is just not gonna be enough. And while the arc now is back into fight in the red side, the red side also have all the altars. UCS, what a slip up. And JST, I mean, this has to be scripted, right? This has to be scripted. How on earth does JST manage to find an arc sitting in no man's land, pick it up and run away with it? Unbelievable. And now they're still grabbing the arc. They're marching it home. The arc is dropped, and UCS now have presence here. They might be able to get this arc back. But good lord, what a scare. And in that scare, what a loss of points per minute. Down a lot. And you're going to be a lot further once all these buildings lock in the favor of the team in red. 3 altars are on their way to get points for the team in red. And now the team in blue is so focused on trying to get their own arc back that they lost all the altars. And that 1,100 point lead for the team in red is going to grow drastically. And yes, it looks like UCS will take this arc back to their side. But oh my goodness, like, how did we even get to this point? How did we even get to this point? Match fixed? Are you, Madruja, you really have to be something else. You really have to be something else. Yes, UCS, 4 seasons, Kingdom 2 from the beginning of Rise of Kingdoms, came into the finals for the first time ever, and they're gonna match fix the game for some Oryx. Exactly. Anyway, UCS pick up the arc. There was a little bit of a scare there. They still have the presence on the field here to secure this arc. They're going to get rid of the JST team out of here, but it came at a big cost. It's at a massive cost. A huge cost of 480 points every single minute in the favor of the red team. So at this point, instead of the arc giving the advantage to the team in blue, it now is going to be how the team in blue managed to close this gap down, because, I mean, they took too long. They lost control. They lost control of their buildings. They lost control of the open field. They lost control of the arc, for crying out loud. And as a result, an 1,800 point lead was open in the favor of the red team. And so that arc is still going to help them recoup and reset. And Wusa, everything is okay. Everything is okay. However, UCS are going to need to step it up now. They're going to have to get buildings back. They're going to go back. They're going to have to go back to where they were before this mistake, which is take buildings, march this arc, and survive at all costs. Chat, if you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to slap a like on it. Hit that subscribe down below. 36 long minutes remain in this match. Anything can still happen. But for now, 2,000 point lead for the team in red. And by the time this arc is going to go to blue side, they're going to be pretty much just drowning that extra advantage that the red team has, but they're not going to be taking any lead whatsoever at this point in time. They need to stop the bleeding, and that bleeding is 420 points every single minute in the favor of the red team. They are gaining a lead of 420 points every single moment this arc goes by. Well, every minute that this arc goes by. And so if it is almost 10 points a second, almost that. And so blue team really need to get this arc in and now start getting buildings. They need to get their own building back. That's first and foremost. JST has been gaining points out of this desert altar for way too long. In the meantime, JST is trying to get rid of the garrison of UCS, and they're doing a decent job at it. In the meantime, that's going on. The middle team is coming in to reinforce the open field swarm against their own desert altar. They need to stop the bleeding. A 3,000 point lead is almost there. 2,600 point lead, 2,300 point lead in the favor of the team, 2,700 point lead in the favor of the red team. And they keep growing that lead more and more and more. And this arc is going as quickly as it can, but it's not going to be fast enough. UCS, even after they pick up this arc, they're going to stay behind in the points overall, as we're going to see momentarily that line being crossed. UCS picking up the Desert Altar will stabilize things a little bit, but not enough just yet. And momentarily, in a few seconds, we will see that 3,000 point lead be achieved. While that's going on, the top Sky Altar is being sieged. Now, what UCS is doing is they're pushing back the open field swarm by JST before their own rally gets there, and then they're going to converge back into swarming the building. This will give a little bit of space for the rally and for the open field to swarm this building down. JST recognizing it, kind of trying to go around, but there's no around after this. There's the rally hit right there, and now the swarm is going to come into the building, and the Sky Altar is going to get sieged. But it has 10% attack and defense worth of buffs as UCS lose their Shrine of War, and UCS need to figure out how they reset. They have lost their momentum. They've lost their pace. They have lost the control of this match, and they're losing me my Oryx. So here we go. UCS now taking this JST Sky Altar, and it is getting sieged really badly. The Sky Altar is going down very quick. It goes in the favor of UCS. Good stop to the bleedage right there as the 3,000 point lead is achieved by the team in red, and there's still 170 points in the lead every single minute, but that is going to get closed down very quickly. UCS, on the other hand, need to start getting their own buildings back and then capture the Arc. Arc has been picked up by UCS yet again, and now they're just marching it home. They're gonna hold on to the Arc, which is really interesting. They're gonna be down a good amount after this 3,000 point Arc. They're gonna be able to barely close by and have a 200 point disadvantage at this stage, but that disadvantage is gonna keep growing, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. I bet on UCS for the record, and so my Oryx, please UCS, you guys got this. And so here we go. Bottom Sky Altar being sieged back. UCS need to get their own buildings back, but they're just not able to. JST pick up a Sky Altar again away from UCS's hands, and it is going to secure in their favor. The points per minute is going to go back up to JST's side. However, again, because UCS picked up the top buildings, it kind of evened out the points per minute game for a little bit, stopped the bleedage for a little bit. 3,200 point lead for the team in blue and red. And if you ask me, the team in blue needs to drop this Arc right now. They need to deliver the Arc and get another one because they have beaten JST's middle once already. They got to do it again. UCS is not able to keep up with JST's points per minute by the looks of it at this scenario. And so they need to figure out how they get more points. And their best way to make points is through middle fights, is through Arc fights. They have their own Desert Altar secured. They need to keep that defended. They need to defend their own Shrine of Life with all cost. But if those buildings go down, that's more points per minute that JST are going to steal away from UCS. And they're looking very strong in this Desert Altar push. While that's happening, an outpost taken away by JST is good news. They are looking to get as many point advantages as they can. UCS, will they deliver this Arc? We're about to find out. If I was on UCS's team, I was like, hell yeah, deliver this Arc. We need more Arcs. We need more points. We're clearly not keeping up right now at this stage with JST, so it's better off for us to have another middle potential than having to fight in the buildings game. And once we get the middle situated a little bit more, then go fight in the buildings game. Right now, UCS have a Zenobia outside of this building that can get in and reinforce, and it looks like the Zenobia isn't doing that just yet. This building is under massive siege. While that's happening, the Sky Altar goes back in favor of JST's hands where it should be, and now UCS need to figure out how they get their own Sky Altar back. Their Shrine of Life is secured though. Their own Sky Altar, though, is getting now finally enough pressure on it that it'll more than likely flip back in the hands of UCS. But the points per minute game is still a little bit in the favor of the red team, and now it kind of evened out with the exception of the one outpost, 30 points per minute in the favor of the team in red. And they're even more than that. Now they're at 180 points in the lead. And so they're going to continually keep gaining these leads by taking away Desert Altars from UCS, for example. They continually keep swapping hands in their buildings left and right, and UCS are just not able to stabilize a 3,600 point lead right now for the team in red. And UCS, without a garrison on their own Sky Altar, the garrison is on its way in, but there is a little bit of time in which this swarm is doing damage to this building unnecessarily. And now comes the garrison switch. The defense is holding, but there is the pressure from JST. They're not going to let UCS come down on the Shrine of Life at all. They're pushing up the Sky Altar, keeping the pressure strong, and they're also keeping the pressure next to the Shrine of War, not allowing the possibility of a fight against the Desert Altar. While that goes on, again, they have some pressure on the UCS Desert Altar. UCS now grouping up to get a big hit going on the Desert Altar at once. Get rid of it really quickly and then go towards the middle. JST using hard push to make sure that their building security happens as quickly as possible. Here comes the swarm on the Desert Altar, a UCS Desert Altar that's supposed to be UCS's, but it is in the hands of JST. JST almost a 4,000 point lead, and they still own the points per minute game, 410 points every single minute in the favor of JST. UCS, they have to deliver this arc. They need arcs. They keep holding on to arcs. They're not going to stand a chance as they are not winning the buildings game whatsoever. Why is everyone streaming UCS against JST? Because this is probably the most interesting match that's going to happen out of them all. And so, no disrespect to the other teams, this is just the cream of the crop, the top tier. And so we're casting this to watch my boys from UCS. I am from UCS, so I don't want to hear it. Anyway, JST holding on to the Desert Altar and now getting points out of it. UCS is swarming and rallying it, so it is going to go back in their favor more than likely very quickly. But still, a lot of points every single minute for the team in red. 380 points every single minute in their favor, and that is going to stop momentarily. Now down 150 points out of that. They're still way ahead by a good 230 points every single minute. So, hey, that's not too terrible. They'll still take it. UCS need to get a point per minute lead, but they keep losing buildings left and right. Now their Shrine of Life went away. They do take away a Sky Altar from JST, so that's good news. That'll definitely cripple the points per minute lead by quite a bit, but still 80 points every single minute for the team in red, whose lead is over 4,300 points right now. It's actually 4,300 points exactly at that point in time, and now it keeps going. And so the arc is still being held. The 3 altars are blue, though, which is good news. Can they make it a 4th altar? If UCS can shift the momentum of the buildings game, 27 minutes remaining, they'll have plenty of time to get through this match and win it. There's going to be one more arc for sure, no matter what. And it looks like the team in blue is slowly mounting a slight comeback. They are not in the points per minute lead just yet, but once they lock in enough of these buildings in their favor, they will take the points per minute lead by about a decent amount, and that should be the comeback they're looking for. But for that, they're going to need to actually secure these buildings, and they're going to need to do more. They're going to have to pressure JST enough so that JST does not take buildings away from them. In the process, though, the Sky Altar yet again is getting sieged, but this time there's only a slight group in here, nothing too big. UCS need to now flip the pressure. You can see JST coming to the side. They want to start grouping up to put, again, pressure on the Sky Altar. UCS cannot allow that to be. They need to be the ones dictating the pressure like they're trying to do in the Desert Altar down here. In the meantime, though, DK grouping up his marches, a few other marches coming in a bit later, but they really need to be here, and they need to be here now. If they're not here quick enough, the JST will be the ones dictating the pressure, just like they're doing it in the Sky Altar right here. Look at how many JST marches are coming this way from a lot of directions, including a rally that is on its way here. And man, this Sky Altar is about to take a big siege on it. While that's going on, because UCS kept the pressure on the Desert Altar, the rally by JST that is marching towards the Shrine of War is more than likely going to get there by itself. It's going to have a little bit of open field presence, not a massive amount like they usually have. And UCS up here, they're at least keeping back the swarm from coming towards their Shrine of War. If they're not hitting the building, they're at least defending, they're stopping the other team from getting to the right building. UCS picking up a Shrine of Life, that is fantastic. There is the points per minute lead, 300 points per minute in the favor of the blue team, who are now starting to close that gap. They have 25 minutes to close a 4,800 point gap with a 3,000 point arc in their favor. So really 1,800 points, which they can do very quickly within 6 minutes if they maintain this lead. And so they need to keep holding on to buildings. They are in the late stage of the game now. They're gaining back that big gap that the team in red has built. It's slowly and steadily dwindling down. They lose their Sky Altar like we predicted, though, which will hamper down that progress down to 150 points every single minute. And that's the problem for UCS. They cannot hold on to the points per minute lead for too long. They keep losing a building or two or not occupying enough buildings. And as a result, they keep themselves short on the points per minute every single time. Now, all they have is they have an altar still ahead of the other of the team in red, and they will momentarily have now they also have a shrine ahead, so they should be 200 and some point ahead, 230 points every single minute. But once the rest of the altars close in and all that, it's going to go down to a mere 80 points per minute in the lead for UCS, and that is just not enough. These guys are marching backwards home after defending their own desert altar. Instead of pushing forward towards the Shrine of War to cause enough pressure in here to not allow JST to dictate the pressure. And you can see JST are doing just that. They keep pushing forward and making sure that the fight happens on this side rather than on this side. And UCS, by pulling back, they're essentially, they're now realizing, but all these guys pulling back are essentially going to cause a situation in which this defense is going to stay there consistently. While that happens, Sky Altar secured by JST, and the points per minute lead goes back to the red team, who now still lead by a good 4,500 points, but those 4,800 points went down to 45. That's good for UCS. They need to keep doing that. They need to keep closing down this gap, but they're incapable of holding on to their Sky Altar because of the amount of pressure JST keep pushing in. Look at what they're doing to this rally. The rally on the Sky Altars that's supposed to be there to save the Sky Altar is not even going to make it. JST are swarming down the rally coming for the Sky Altar, and this rally is not even going to hit the building. There it goes, and that's the kind of pressure and defense JST are maintaining consistently, and UCS are just not able to get out of that woodwork. And JST are, though, not paying attention to one side while paying attention to the other. Here comes UCS with a little bit of a swarm and also a decent rally. And wow, now there's a good swarm in here and more marches coming in. This defense is weak. Can the rally do enough? More marches join the rally, which is really, really good. There is a backup garrison right next to the building, but there's nothing JST can do in here. The Desert Altar is going to go down. Great work for UCS, who are going to stop the bleeding back down to 150 points every single minute. And now they need to grab their own building back. They need to stop this bleedage, which is now less than 2,000 points. The arc has been secured. The middle is going to be contested very soon yet again. And a 1,900 point lead for the team in red can still be closed down with a good, effective middle by UCS. UCS now need to do two things. They need to stop the bleeding. They need to make it to 590 and stop the points per minute bleeding, and they must win that next arc and do it quick. If they do that, it could bring them back to a very, very tight game. This is a 2,000 point game, less than 2,000 point game, which means provisions are still a thing, and there's still plenty of time, 22 minutes remaining for occupations and for arcs, so still plenty to go. But clearly, the stronger team on the field right now is none other than JST, and not only because they lead at this point in time, but also because they have been dictating the pace. And every time UCS managed to break out of the cycle and get a little bit of a lead and get a little bit of a hold on the map, JST just keep doing the same thing, they've been doing, and they eventually take UCS's buildings first and then go back to get their own as well. And as you can see, Shrine of War goes down for UCS as well. Big trouble. 540 points every single minute going in favor of the red team, who are looking to gain a massive lead now. 2,300 point lead, and they are gaining in a tremendous number. Now, only one Desert Altar belonging to UCS, but that's not going to last too long because it's on the red side and it's already getting swarmed down out the wazoo. Good news for UCS, though. The top Sky Altar is got secured by them. They managed to take it away from the red team, so that will slow things down a little bit. Their own Desert Altar is also being very well swarmed and rallied, and they take it back. And tit for tat, hands exchange some of these buildings, and we're back to 310 points, still the same big difference. But now it's 430, 290 now to the 130. UCS take 3 altars. They're back, baby. They keep doing this. They take 3 altars, they lose their own, they lose the other team, and back and forth. 20 minutes remain, 2,500 points. And now UCS holding 3 altars will be able to potentially close this gap a little bit further. The problem for UCS is that none of their altars are ticking for points from them. All of them are waiting for occupation. There is a potential of 500, 30 points every single minute once all the blue buildings are secured compared to the 150 extra the red team will have. And in that scenario, the red team will be behind by a slight bit. UCS, in the meantime, they're swarming their own Shrine of War to get it back, and they will more than likely get it back, and they'll slow the bleeding even further, which is now pretty massive, but still down to 440, 310 points every single minute. UCS keeping this at a 2100 point match. And everything is still open. If these buildings get secured, hard push hopefully is enabled for the team in blue, who it doesn't look like they have hard push on, which means it takes them longer to occupy buildings. They're not even going to be able to secure this altar away from JST. They're just going to lose it right there. And just like that, without even securing it, it flips back to the red team. But at least the rest, their own buildings are going to go back into their favor, and they'll get that 590 bleeding stopped. At least it'll be a 594.40 for a little bit until the red team actually secure and occupy their own sky altar, which is going to take a little bit. But curiously enough, the red team have indeed, well, they don't have hard push either. So here, well, they have hard push. But anyway, red team going towards the middle. Both teams are now starting to posture towards the middle. They know that this is where it's going to be. And the red team knows that they have to win this middle. If the red team wins the middle, UCS are in big trouble. And UCS know this, and they need to be here. But JST are here way ahead. UCS are starting to come in here, and they're dripping in slowly and steadily. JST need to utilize this opportunity where they potentially have a little bit more forces in here to potentially engage early on and make sure that these marches are not here for when the massive hit happens. Here is a pickup, and there is a back off right there. JST are going to posture forward. UCS are going to ball up, and when this fight happens, it's going to be pretty much for all the marbles, as the UCS do have the points per minute lead right now, but momentarily we'll be back to 590, and that is that. Well, as UCS hitting cities, I don't think they were hitting cities intentionally. I think they're sending rallies as taxi rallies and forgetting to cancel them. 17 minutes remain in this match. And as my throat gets very, very dry, so hopefully we'll get through these 17 minutes because we're out of a drink. UCS are getting in here. JST with a big ball, getting ready to rock and roll. Buildings are blinking though, and they're both blue buildings, and they both have decent but not too big of a pressure. UCS need to use this opportunity to gain some points. They need to start taking buildings away from JST now that JST are extremely focused in the middle. While UCS is also very much focused in the middle, the bottom line is the arc is going to come out, and there is going to be a big fight right here. But if one team can take a points per minute lead before this fight begins, it'll be crucial for their success. This is a bug. There's no marches there just yet. They're not here. This is not there. You can see they're back here, so don't pay attention to those. UCS are starting to huddle up in the middle. JST are coming in hot as well. Nothing happening in the buildings game. It is 590 to the 590 now. Finally on even ground. 2,300 point lead for the team in red. No lead being gained. So if this arc goes indeed in the hands of the team in blue and they manage to secure it quick enough, they can actually take a lead. This arc is 3,500 points, which means there is a 1,300 point lead potential for the team in blue. And then they're going to need to be able to hold on for dear life. The Shrine of Life is being contested. While that's happening, a Gatherer is being attacked. UCS's Gatherer is like, meh. But at the same time, has to be careful. If you get killed on the if you get killed in here, bad news. You're going to lose all your provisions. Don't do it. Okay, good. You know, you got to get killed. You got to get killed. What are you going to do? You're going to keep going back and forth, entertaining these two marches forever? It's actually not the worst idea to go back and forth between the nodes and just piss off the gatherers. You just got the marches. You got to make sure you just don't get killed while you're on the node. Skill being procced. Here we go. UCS engage first, and they are engaging big time. Attack, war drums, and mystical formation being dropped to the death by JST. And here we go. UCS to the death as well. And the fight is on. Remember, the skill advantage was a little bit there for UCS, and it still is. And now JST dropped the rest of the skills. UCS frownies and red frownies coming out as well. The middle fight is on, and I am seeing more blue frownies than red so far. So far, we're seeing a huge amount of blue frownies and some reds as well. UCS in big trouble. JST are starting to grind them down, and they are not able to push back at all in this middle. UCS need more presence in here. They need more pressure on this JST middle that is taking them down slowly and steadily. This middle is getting extremely laggy, but we're watching now. We're seeing a lot more red frownies, but some blues as well. Red and blues at the same time. It looks like the blue team has turned on. The cheats are on, but the red team just as much. Frownies all over the blue team. Oh my goodness gracious. 15 seconds till the arc is popped and the red team is getting grinded, but also is the blue. This is actually a very close middle fight, but the top Shrine of Life was taken by the team in red, so they are in the points per minute lead by about 80 points. They keep gaining a lead as their 2,700 point lead is their 3,500 point arc on the field right now. And the red team seems to be doing good, but also not really. They pick up the arc first, so that's good news. Can they march it backwards? That's the real question, as they see frownies going all over the place for the team in blue. The red arc carrier is dropped. UCS are still in here. Both teams have still very good presence. I still don't see a clear victory for either side, but there's definitely more frownies for the blue side at this point, but there's much more red marches, and the red marches are picking up the arc, and they're marching it out. Arc carrier dropped, and so are a couple of others. UCS are slowly coming back into this. There were so many frownies for them, but they somehow are targeting the correct marches, and they are chumming the red team out of the middle. UCS capture the arc, and now they start bailing with it. They know they have the advantage. They know they have the arc, and they know if they hold on to this arc, no more arcs are going to get popped one way or another. So now UCS need to figure out how they keep a slight lead. At this point, they have, with this arc, 3,500 points in the bank, which would put them at 1,200 point lead, give or take. Give or take. They're down by a mere 2,300 points. So a 1,200 point lead potential for UCS. And this match, just like that, flips on its head. 13 minutes remaining. And with this arc, UCS pretty much maintain the fact that they will more than likely go for provisions to wrap up this match. Now, JST need to start taking buildings. They need to make sure that when the provisions game begins, it is going to go down to the teeth. And here we go. UCS are not going to let this match slip. They knew that they had to recompose, and they did. They grabbed an arc. Perfect situation. They're marching their arc backwards. A lot of marches are now coming in to defend their own building, their own Desert Altar, a critically important building to defend. They're also defending the arc carrier a little bit, not too much, but the arc carrier should be secured and ready to rock and roll. Now, UCS need to defend their own building, and they need to put pressure on the red buildings. They need to stop the red team from pushing forward, and the red team is pushing forward. They know that now they need to be able to re-aggress and grab points as quickly as humanly possible, and they know that UCS is still left with a little bit of middle hurt, middle pain. Some of these marches that are yellow all over the place, while the red team that already got sent home from the middle are now back with full marches. So now, can the blue team maintain enough pressure on the red buildings to maintain their own safety? No, they're going to have to save their own arc, because while the arc is marching home, there are red marches coming in for this arc. They're not going to let UCS grab this arc for free or easy enough. They're going to make them choose between defending the arc or defending their own buildings. And now the marches converge onto attacking the building. This was a ruse. They made UCS look this way, made UCS come this way, and then JST turn onto the Desert Altar, and they're about to aggress on it. There is a march, however, trying to still sneak it to this Guan Arc Carrier, but the Guan Arc Carrier is being very well defended, and it will more than likely make it home. JST are going to do everything they can to kind of be a nuisance, a pain in the butt for this Arc Carrier, but nonetheless, the likelihood of UCS losing this Arc is low, although we have seen crazy things happen this match. We got to keep an eye really quickly on the rest of the buildings that UCS is aggressing on. Very good job on a Shrine of War. Problems for JST. They need to hold on to the end of this match. UCS also very aggressive on JST's Sky Altar. They're turning on the heat, and while they're 80 points down, they're about to get some points per minute lead because they're taking JST's Sky Altar, or at least trying to. They're also trying to take the Shrine of War away, and this is looking much better. This Desert Altar is also getting attacked with a rally now and a small siege. And now the red team pick up the arc. They reset the timer. They're marching it backwards. I mean, obviously, it's okay for UCS to let the red team grab the arc, pick up the arc, and then kill the arc carrier quicker. This only delays a couple seconds worth of UCS's time, which they still have plenty of time to go. So allowing JST to pick up the arc and then smashing the arc carrier shouldn't be a big deal, especially with a swarm like the one that they have here. They shouldn't even allow this march to march that much further back. And so one arc carrier down, another one red march in here, and then UCS can safely make it home. Shrine of War taken by UCS. Points per minute game in their favor. 3,000 point, less than 3,000 points, 2,600 point lead for the team in red. They're aggressing on the Shrine of War, on the Desert Altar of UCS. But UCS now have 10% attack and defense compared to the 0% attack and defense of JSTs. So the defense can do good work in here. UCS must hold. They have to hold their buildings. They have to hold the points lead. They are trying to close the gap. They're trying to stick that arc and gain that lead for the first time in a very long time, but they're losing their Desert Altar very fast. Nobody is defending this Desert Altar. Desert Altar goes down. Bad news for UCS. 100 points per minute in the favor of the red team and 9 minutes remaining in this match. That is not enough to close the gap that the arc is going to create, but this is a good start. JST are now putting all their eggs in the baskets of the points per minute. They know they need to take buildings away from UCS. UCS must hold and take buildings for dear life. Losing their Desert Altar is terrible, and losing a Shrine of Life would be even worse. The Shrine of Life doesn't even have a garrison. This Shrine of Life is just going to go away. 80 points gone. UCS slipping in the points per minute game yet again, and this arc will now become a tie creator, essentially, instead of a lead creator for UCS. UCS dropping these buildings are allowing the 2,600, 500 point lead of the team in red to grow enough so that this arc will not put them in the lead. They need to secure buildings. With this arc almost there, they need to just stick the arc in the city, which is what they're doing. They've already gunned it into the city. They know that either way, that there's not going to be another arc, so there's no point in them holding onto it for even a second more. They need to get the points in, and they need all of these marches right now to smash into their own Desert Altar, to smash into any building that is not blue and make it blue now. And as the arc is getting delivered momentarily, UCS will take a lead. Well, the arc carrier seems to want to march around a little bit longer. He's going to Frost the city instead. In the meantime, this guy right here thinks he's going to grab the obelisk away from UCS, and now UCS turning back, and they're like, there it is, arc security, 800 point lead for the team in blue, but they've lost everything else. The rest of the map is pretty much gone in the favor of the red team, who are now, oh man, that went up even further, 540 points every single minute. This is not going to last long. In less than 2 minutes, UCS are going to lose this lead, and man, they are in a world of pain. Ladies and gentlemen, 7 minutes remaining in this match. If you're enjoying the cast, don't forget to slap a like on it. Hit that subscribe down below. 400 beautiful people and 53 likes. I do believe you guys can hit that 100 likes, no problem. Just smash that like button and I'll let you know what else is going on in this match as we finalize our Osiris League Season 4 coverage. UCS trying to hold for dear life, 400 points in the lead, swarm towards their own Desert Altar, will secure their Desert Altar back in their favor. JST literally holding everything they can for dear life. They take the Sky Altar away from UCS, but UCS take it away from JST, and now they take their own Desert Altar. This is an evener, except that an evener in the sense that the buildings are still taking points for JST, but not for UCS. UCS are evening out the buildings, but they're not occupying the buildings for long enough. They're managing to take away the points from the team in red, but the team in red keeps occupying the buildings, and UCS are just not able to occupy them for a long period of time. Look at how much pressure JST now have on this Sky Altar. They know it has to stay red. They know they must protect it at all costs, and they know they must protect their own buildings at all costs. But here comes UCS with a swarm on a Desert Altar that is a little light, but it's still there. Now the swarm is light. The rally is taken out, but there's still a decent pressure in here. More marches from UCS coming in, but so are the marches from JST. This building has to come down. UCS must not let JST grow their lead. That is now a 200-point lead for the team in red, who take the lead back, ladies and gentlemen. This match is getting as close as it can get. UCS trying to take a Desert Altar away from JST, but incapable. That Zenobia is holding for dear life. Here comes Yura with a garrison backup. More marches coming into this Desert Altar defense, and UCS pouring in. UCS still looking to get this building away from JST, but the more marches come in here to defend the building, and JST hold tight for dear life as they still have the points per minute lead by 190 points every single minute, and they are gaining a lead. Now they're at almost 1,998 point lead, making 1,000 point lead for the team in red. 5 minutes remaining. This is going to go down to provisions and final occupations. The team in blue has to stop the bleeding, and they are doing everything they can. JST are holding on to this Desert Altar like no one's business. They are not going to let this building come down, but UCS are not giving up. More marches are coming in. Building is coming down. Can this march make it in time? Birdie on his way to defend the Desert Altar. That is ticking down extremely low. Is it going to flip? The march makes it in. JST keep holding for dear life as this Desert Altar remains in their hands even further. And finally, it is about to go down. UCS have to grab it. UCS have to grab it. After all of this, finally, the points from this building get away from the hands of the team in blue, and now they're only in red, and now they're only 100 points in the lead. The team in blue now needs to lock in buildings in their favor. They have hard push on 52 seconds until they have this occupation, and thank the Lord they got their hard push on. Insatiable Desire by JST means trouble on the provisioning. In the meantime, Shrine of War being taken away. UCS's points are being taken out. They're now behind 90 points in the points per minute game, but momentarily they're going to start locking in some of these altars, and the altar's already locked in. Wow. So we have now one altar in 28 seconds, and then UCS will take a slight points per minute lead. They're 900 points behind. This is going to come down to provisions. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you in the next few moments to keep your eyes on the score, and on the score only. At any second, a provisioner can come in and change this game, period. And so we got to keep our eyes on that. The provisioners should be coming in the next minute or so. UCS are going to secure this Desert Altar, but unfortunately in the process they lost the Sky Altar, that is the red Sky Altar, that was ticking for points for them. So when all this is said and done, they're back to a 10 point per minute lead deficit because they don't own half of their own big buildings. And that is a huge, huge problem. With the bottom side completely overrun by JST and UCS just incapable of doing anything down here, they are able to hold on to this Desert Altar for a little bit longer, which is good news. The bleeding is going to stop. A 2,600 point lead right now for the team in red, whose provisions are coming in. They started to come in. UCS holding on to the Desert Altar. They need to get a push. They need to stop the points per minute generation for the red team, who are now still 90 points per minute, every single minute in the lead. 2,800 point lead for the team in red. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The provisions are kicking in. Don't forget to slap a like on the stream before this ends. 3 minutes remaining, and we are reaching the end of Osiris League Season 4 in the realm of Horus. UCS and JST by the skin of their teeth. UCS are now down about 3,000 points. Provisions still haven't come in for UCS. They will wait until the last moment to get in here. UCS are now making sure JST don't take buildings away from them. Valiant stand goes down on the Desert Altar at the bottom. They want to hold JST's building for dear life. They don't want to let the bleeding grow. They're 3,100 points behind and 80 points every single minute in the points per minute game. And JST's massive siege on the Desert Altar is coming. 2 minutes remaining. Provisioners have still not come in for UCS. JST's provisioners have started to come in. We've seen a jump in the points that came from provisioners. And so keep your eyes on the UCS march. Indeed, there's still 2 minutes. If you time it correctly, you can wait very, very well. You can still wait. I can tell you that march is nearby. The obelisk can wait until the minute 30, even a minute 40. And even if you're close enough, even to the last minute to get in. And so UCS is using every opportunity to provision. They're about 3,000 points behind, but they need to get their provisioners in. They also need to protect their own buildings for the little bit of time they have remaining. If they can take away the points per minute generating buildings from JST, it would be great, but they're just incapable of doing so. So at this point, it's all about provisions. 2,800 point difference in these two teams, and we are also going to keep our eyes on there. This UCS Desert Altar is looking really bad for them. They just have to hold it on for a little bit longer. At this point, it's just hold for dear life. A minute and 25 seconds remaining. 2,900 point lead for the team in blue, and the team in red is starting to march their provisioners home. I can tell you that they're starting to march their provisioners home, and we should be seeing some points coming in any moment. Here we go. More provisions are still out here. The timing is impeccable. These guys are marching in. Here we go. Marches, provisioners. The match is down to 2,500 points. Less than that, 1,000 points in, and we're down to 1,600 points. 1,600 point lead for the team in red, and the provisions are still marching in. The match can still change in favor of the blue team in any second, as provisions are trickling in for the team in blue, who are holding on to every single building they can. But they're still down 1,600 points. More than that, more provisions come in for the team in red, and trouble for the team in blue. Not enough provisions. 23 points missing. Can they make that up? There's still time. There's still time. 2,200 points remain in the lead for the team in blue. Can the team in red, can the team in blue do something to close this out? 19 seconds, and provisions can still come in, but this is looking very, very tough. Is there a hero left for UCS? 10 seconds remain. 2,500 points, 2,400 point close. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And JST, the champions of Osiris League Season 4. Rest in peace, my coins, but hell yeah, JST. Champions of the realm of Horus with a spectacular match. Let's go see how the provisions worked out. More provisions to the team in red. They owned the points per minute game more than the arcs were worth. UCS holding onto an arc. Big mistake. They could have had even a third arc if they didn't hold that first one for that long. Big mistake by them. They had that middle. They were losing the buildings game consistently and not bringing in a third arc. With a third arc, they would have won this match, but instead they opted to hold onto an arc in the beginning, having only 2 arcs the whole match. And even with that huge mistake they made with that first arc, that was very detrimental for them. That pretty much killed their game. They lost their momentum. They lost their everything when that arc had to be carried back home instead of just delivering it and then going again for another arc. In general, very well played by both teams. JST proving that they are the strongest team of Osiris League Season 4. Rest in peace, all of our coins. Let's get those GGs up in the air. And of course, before you all get out of here, don't forget to smash a like on the video. Hit that subscribe down below. We're going to talk a lot more Arc of Osiris in the coming weeks and a little bit more. 22 million heals on the side of JST. Holy bonkers compared to the 3 million of UCS. Tells you a big part of the story. But ladies and gentlemen, the victory goes to JST, and rest in peace, all of our Oryx. It is what it is. Anyway, massive congratulations to JST, champions of Osiris League Season 4, Realm of Horus. Let's go take a quick peek and see who, well, we could have done that. Who are our victors on the Realm of Anubis? PX34? GT 60 GT and 94 VN. Wow. That's a little bit unexpected. CD70 losing to 94 VN, who now have the wings above their name, and that's very, very cool. In the realm of Bassets, we watched this match. We casted it earlier. It was an extremely fun match to watch. The realm of Anubis had a very tight match. V636 losing to PX34. PX34 might be a surprise to a lot of you guys, but PX34 indeed taking that W. And in the realm of Horus, JST, my man Chuni, shout out to him and to the crew of the Korean Kingdoms, because man, that was extremely, extremely cool to watch. I appreciate you all choosing us today as your commentators, watching your Oryx were on JST, my Oryx were on UCS. Oh well, it is what it is. Chat, I appreciate all of you who chose us again. I'll stream again tomorrow, let y'all know where I've been MIA. I know I've been MIA, and you guys still chose to be here. I mean, you guys are incredible. I appreciate every single one of you again who slapped the like, subscribe down below. 112 likes. You guys are amazing. I'm out of here. Take care. Have a great... It wasn't a surprise? I don't know. I have no clue. Paul, this is why I don't do the other realms, because I just don't know them. So if you say it wasn't a surprise, then that makes sense. Anyway, take care. Have a good one. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Live, probably 5 p.m., 6 p.m. UTC. Hopefully it'll be 5 p.m. UTC, but I'll let you guys know. You're the best. Appreciate you, Mitch. Chat. See y'all next time. Peace. See ya. Thanks again, guys.